Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really fascinating and, I have to say, a hyper-competitive turn.
Hmm.
We're diving into the world of digital college football. And not just any league, but the most brutal arena, the SEC money leagues.
Right.
Our source material for this is from the YAR Sports Network. It's excerpts from SEC college football coach profiles. This is basically an insider's look at the strategies and the personalities driving this whole high-stakes world.
That's right. And our mission really is to pull out the pure strategy, the psychological profiles that really define what it takes to win here.
It's so candid.
Oh, it's incredibly candid. The source notes this conference is, and I'm quoting here, loaded with smoke, talent, and some real demons.
So, smoke, we're talking trash talk, misdirection.
Exactly. Aggressive trash talk, competitive mind games. And when they say G-mens, they mean the players who are just. They haunt the leaderboards, not just with skill, but with these intense, sometimes volatile personalities.
This deep dive, I think it really shows that getting to that elite status, in any competitive field, digital or not,
Hmm.
it takes more than just knowing the playbook.
Absolutely.
It's about a very specific technical mastery and, maybe more importantly, the mental toughness to handle these high-stakes personal dynamics.
This is where it stops being a game, a hobby, and it becomes a high-level competition.
Yeah.
We're looking past the button inputs and, into the psychology of users who figured out how to monetize their skill. To get the league, you have to get the people at the top.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start with the undisputed champions, the coaches who are setting the standard everyone else is chasing.
The apex predators.
Exactly. We have to start with Coach Savvy at Georgia Tech. The Wire Network profile says, and there's no ambiguity here, he is one of the best in the league, no debate.
And his resume just,
Duped.
it supports that title completely. We're
Right.
talking back-to-back Madden championships.
Right.
But the key insight for you, for the listener, is how he does it. I mean, yes, he runs a great pass-first offense, but the profile immediately zooms in on his defense.
It does. It talks about his switch stick game, that specific mechanic, the way he just instantly swaps between defenders on the field. The source calls it beyond crazy.
And that is the absolute strategic nugget right there. That's the key.
Why that specifically?
Well, look, in these football sims, offense is, for the most part, about planning. The play you call, your routes. Defense, that's pure reaction. It's improvisation.
Chaos.
It's managing chaos. And to be elite, you have to manage it flawlessly. Savvy's mastery of that switch stick game means he just erases the defensive flaws that plague, 99% of other competitive users,
So he can switch control, react to a cut.
and switch again, all without input lag, without accidentally diving. It's just a level of technical fluency that keeps his defense perfectly sound on almost every play. That's how you stay elite year after year.
That distinction is so clear. Planning versus reaction, that's what separates the top tier. Okay, let's move on to another champion, a real pillar of this conference. Coach Ballhawk at Texas.
A league veteran, and he's got this really interesting dual role as co-commissioner.
Yeah, and his origin story is all about resilience, which I find fascinating. The source says he started by getting his head cracked.
Which means, for anyone not familiar, he was taking brutal, embarrassing losses early on.
But the key is he never left and never stopped fighting, and he just rose all the way to become a top user.
His whole strategy is built on what I'd call controlled threat,
Run first.
primarily. He wants to grind you down, control that clock, dictate the pace. But, and this is the critical part, the source warns that if your defense is caught sleep,
Meaning unprepared, flat-footed.
he can suddenly take the top off real quick. Just boom, an explosive long passing play.
Yeah.
He lulls you to sleep with a run and then attacks.
A balanced threat. He has championships in both Madden and NCAA, so he can adapt.
And defensively, he's got a nice user defense,
Huh.
but he layers it with this high-risk, high-reward strategy.
The blitzes.
Unpredictable blitzes. The profile's warning you'll never know it's coming. That tells you he thrives on creating pressure, creating those chaotic situations we were talking about.
And then there's this other layer, the administrative one. The YAR Network gives a big warning here. Ballhawk's role as co-commish means that, personal feelings matter. The source says, if he don't like you personally, you're going to have a hard road.
You have to make that scheduled time, or you risk a forfeit.
So this is where strategy on the field, it starts to bleed into leverage off the field.
Exactly. He's not just threatening you with a blitz anymore. He's using his power to force you to play on his terms, on his schedule.
Yeah.
The threat of a forfeit, that's a competitive tool.
So is that seen as like a legitimate part of the game? Or does it detract from the pure competition?
In a money league, it's part of the game. Time is money, and the rules are leverage. The fact that the profile even mentions this is a warning to opponents. To beat Ballhawk, you don't just have to beat his team. You have to navigate the league rules and his personality perfectly. It's another layer of pressure. You're worried about the clock, his defense, and the scheduling deadline.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. We move from the proven champs to these compelling stories of veterans who are defined by their tenacity.
Their evolution.
Let's talk about Coach Geedy at Ole Miss. The source author clearly has some history with him. He's described as hell, prone to constant clashes.
High drama. Absolutely. But his competitive journey is maybe the most valuable lesson in this whole thing.
Because he wasn't always great.
Not at all. The source says he used to be just an okay user, but he worked his way all the way to the top.
And the commitment that takes. The source notes he finally started finishing full leagues after years of leaving early.
Think about that. Years of quitting. Rage quitting, probably.
And now he has national championships in both NCAA and Madden. Despite all the drama, the author admits he earned his spot.
And this is it. This is the competitive philosophy right here. Geedy's story is this profound lesson that just consistent commitment, the sheer will to endure frustration, that matters more than raw talent in the long run.
He just outlasted people.
He outlasted the competition until he became elite. Talent quits. Geedy persisted. His biggest win wasn't a championship, it was overcoming that flaw of quitting early. He applied himself until he forced his way into that top tier.
That's a powerful story. Okay, let's shift to another Day One original, Coach Yates at Notre Dame. He's described as a good, very competitive user, won a Madden League or two.
Yeah.
Very consistent.
Yeah, Yates is an interesting contrast. He's definitely run-first coach, though he's pretty balanced overall. He likes to dictate the pace, control the clock. But his profile has what I think is the most ominous piece of advice in the whole document.
It's very blunt and specific. Stay away from his user on defense, for real.
For real.
That phrasing, that suggests it's not just that he's good on defense. It's a specific signature skill, something you just don't challenge.
It's a guaranteed mistake to challenge it. And this highlights the absolute need for game planning against your opponent. Yates can lull you into thinking, okay, I just need to stop the run.
But the real threat is somewhere else.
The real threat is his user-controlled defender. So you have to build your entire offensive strategy around actively avoiding that one player. You throw to the other side of the field. You plan your routes away from him. Otherwise, you risk a game-changing turnover.
It's like knowing a pitcher has one unhittable pitch.
Exactly. You adjust your whole approach to avoid ever seeing it. And that forces you out of your comfort zone, which is what any great defensive player wants.
Okay, finally, let's wrap the breakdown with the wild cards. The less tested guys, the unpredictable talent, the coaches who could catch you slipping.
Right, because established dominance is never guaranteed. The league is always shifting.
First up, Coach Brand at Oklahoma. He's new, his reputation is solid, but the YAR network is basically saying, let's wait and see. The quote is, we're going to see what's up once the games start rolling.
He's an unknown, a total black box, and you can't scout him yet. The fear with a guy like Brand is that he's an empty slate. The unknown is always a threat.
Then you have Coach SP at Arkansas. He's got a solid history, a good user from Madden years ago, but the big question mark is skill translation.
Right. The source is waiting to see how his skills translate to the new college football game.
So was he a master of Madden's physics and its glitches, or is he a master of football strategy?
That's the million-dollar question. If his whole game was based on something that got nerfed in the new version, then his history doesn't mean much. He has to prove he can adapt.
And that brings us to our last one, Coach That Dude at Indiana. He's called a good dude who loves coming up with off-the-wall shit.
Hey.
A solid user, and the advice is clear. Don't sleep on him at all. He's a pass-first user who can definitely catch you slipping.
The off-the-wall shit is the key phrase there. While guys like Savvy and Ballhawk are relying on these polished, established meta strategies, that dude is all about innovation, unpredictability.
And in a league this skilled, that's a huge advantage.
Massive, because it breaks the scouting reports. You just can't prepare for something you've never seen before.
So this raises a big question for any competitor. How do you weigh all this? The history of a veteran like SP, the rumors around a new guy like Brand, the sheer unpredictability of someone like that dude. How do you weigh that against the known, proven dominance of the elites like Savvy?
It's a complex risk assessment. I think you have to prioritize the immediate known threat.
Savvy's switch stick.
Right. That's the known technical peak.
Yeah.
And Ballhawk's blend of power and his administrative leverage, that's the known psychological peak. Everyone else is a risk you have to assess week by week.
So, summarizing the whole SEC profile from the YAR Sports Network, it's a complex, talented, and, a highly personalized league.
Very.
Success is defined by this blend of technical mastery, like Savvy's defense, balanced strategy, like Ballhawks, and just sheer competitive will, like we saw with Geedy.
It's a league where you can't just execute plays. True expertise means you have to master the subtle, difficult mechanics, while also navigating all the drama, using any leverage you have, and just adapting faster than everybody else.
The final verdict from the source is clear. It's a warning shot. Opponents better come ready or get embarrassed. The talent is just too high for anything less.
It recaps it perfectly. You have to be technically sound, strategically flexible, and just mentally tough enough to stick around until you win.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the digital trenches of the SEC. Thank you for joining us as we unpacked what makes these competitors so elite. Before we sign off, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over, building on that profile of Coach Geedy. If the championship profile of a coach was defined less by their raw, initial skill, and more by their ability to overcome their own flaws like quitting early or frustration, what initial talent in your own life might you be neglecting? Just because that commitment phase? Because it feels too difficult, or maybe just too long.
We'll catch you next time.
Until then, stay informed.